Hello, everybody. I am Renee Main, and welcome to the Hedonistic Way Online Summit, where I'm having unadulterated pillow talk with global thought leaders, disruptors who are disrupting the status quo, kicking ass in life and business, and living stereo, untypical success. Today with me is a woman who words cannot describe how much I love. But I'm going to try. So, so Jen is the owner of Socially Grown and the Social Guild. She does amazing things with social media, and we'll get more into that in a second. But what I really love about Jen is how she lives by her values. She is the most humble person I have ever met, who has accomplished some seriously amazing things, who's worked with some of the biggest names in business. Well, like, you worked with Obama, for God's sake. Like, you know, that's
Right.
that's
Yeah.
massive, right? Can you get big?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, but
Yeah.
massive. So welcome, Jen. Thank you so much for being in
Thank
bed
you.
with me.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's nice and cozy in here.
It is. I know it is. So now I'm like, right, Dick can do this, and yeah. Anyway,
Right.
so tell us, what is your nickname?
My nickname. Oh,
Yeah.
well, most people call me Jen.
Yeah.
But in high school, my nickname is Hen. Hen.
Hen.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. So it started from my best friend in high school when we were 13, and Jen, Hen, it rhymes. And so she started calling me Hen, and then everybody started calling me Hen. And even my Spanish teacher, one day in class, called me, my name in Spanish was Juanita,
Yeah.
and she called me Gallina instead. And I didn't know what that was, and she's like, look it up. And so I looked it up, and it means hen.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
That's
so she kept calling me Gallina for the rest of the year. It was funny.
I love that. That's cool. Tell us, what is on your bedside table?
Oh, well, right now there's a glass of water and an essential oil diffuser.
Yeah.
But earlier today there was a box of Thin Mint cookies.
Awesome.
Girl Scout cookies.
Yes, I seen an image of those that you shared. Was it last week or whenever it was?
Yeah, 14 boxes of them.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I have a house full of teenage boys, so
yeah.
I have an excuse, but I snuck one box of Thin Mints away, and I have them here.
Nice. I love that. What essential oil do you like to diffuse in your room?
Oh, I love Serenity. It's from doTERRA.
Yes.
And it's like a combination of lavender and all these other really nice, but it's just like a peaceful, calming. I need calming. Everything. Like, I don't need anything to be energizing in my life. I need to just calm.
Yeah.
And so I feel like my bedroom is a retreat from, I have a house full of boys. Yeah. I'm a single mom, and this is like my sacred space. Yeah. So yeah, it's Thin Mints and Serenity.
Beautiful. I love it. And what's turning you on at the moment?
Well, where do I begin? Everything in life is magical at the moment. I felt it since the beginning of, well, actually I felt it in starting in like October, November, and there was this momentum that started.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really sure what it was because it's been a hectic couple of years.
Yeah.
But the last, I think, like 6 to 8 weeks have just been super intense. And like, I guess, like, I've just been, like, everything's coming true. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Like, coming true. Everything, all the seeds that I planted and all of the wishes that I had and all of the dreams that I had are all coming to fruition. And it's so freaking amazing. So that whole idea is turning me on, because this idea that I don't know what's next, but it's going to be freaking awesome. And I just can't wait. So that's the thing. Like I noticed that I met an incredible man and he's phenomenal. But I was like going back through my journal and I noticed that I wrote down what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And he's like all of it, So I think I'm a huge fan of like writing things down and being really clear on what you want, even when you can't see it happening, even when your life is chaos and everything is spinning. And because now it's all happening and I'm just kind of receiving, which is really nice.
That's beautiful. So I'm curious to know, Jen, when you were in that space and you talk about, you're very clear on what you wanted, but you kind of almost, like, it sounds like you almost forgot about that. So you kind of wrote it and put it aside and continued living your life every day. Tell us about how then, I want to say, how you got through, and like I want to ask you about believing in it even when the last couple of years have been chaos. So how do you believe, how do you continue to believe and create this? Because it's okay now because you're on the other side of it and you're receiving, which is this beautiful space to be in, but there's that element of murkiness. How did you continue to believe in that moment?
That's such a good question. It's such a good question. I think that now I believe, because it's happened so many times in my life, that now I know that things get really dark and gloomy and scary, but eventually you get through that phase and then there's light again.
Yeah.
And it's like seasons and cycles and, waves and full moons and all of those things. There's a cycle of light and dark.
Yeah.
And none of our lives are all of one thing. It really does depend on, are you planting the seeds? Like, you can't be a farmer and not plant seeds. Like, you have to get out and do the work. You can't just sit back and, harvest all the time. Yeah. So there are times where it's cold or it's rainy or it's dark and we're planting seeds and planting seeds and planting seeds and nothing is growing. But I just believe in that cycle, and I know that it's happened so many times before that I trust that it's going to happen again, but I never know when it's going to happen again. And that's the scary part. And this particular time of, I don't know what we want to call it. I mean, chaos or darkness or whatever, was a lot longer than some of the other cycles I've been through.
Yeah.
And I think, and you and I have talked about this before, I think that having a core set of values of who you are, and what kind of person do I want to be in this moment? What kind of person? So I would get it down to, by the hour or by the minute, of who do I want to be? Who do I want to be for my kids? Who do I want them to see? So I'm not sure. It's just who do I want to be now today, and making sure that I'm doing that every step of the way. And that's really helped me stay on track. Through the dark times, I just was like, no, if I stay clear and true to who I am, then I'll get to where I need to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And, something that you said just then, Jen, is, and I think, and as I think I might have even said to you yesterday when we caught up, but, your biggest gift for me, and like I admire it so deeply, is your ability to choose that moment to moment, for you to stand by your values. So it is I'm sure it is wavering at times, but you still hold your own soul in that moment. What I want to ask you then is, you mentioned like your boys and like your kids, is you thought, who do I want to show them? So because in say personal development, in business or whatever it is, people will often say, you need to do it for yourself. You need to fill your own cup. You need to be able to do it for you. But I think sometimes when you are in that, whatever you call it, just call it dark, whatever. Sometimes it is, you do need to reach for someone else, because your bond with your child is enough to go, who do I want to be for them? So tell me about how you did that in that moment.
Well, it comes back to, remember when I was telling you about writing in my journal?
Yeah.
I wrote down just like, what do I want my life to look like? Not 70 years from now or whatever, but really, what do I want my life to look like in all areas? So I just wrote a few sentences, and I want to be connected to my kids from now until always. I don't necessarily need them to be doctors and lawyers and have big fancy houses and drive fancy cars. That's not value for me. My value is to stay connected with them and to have them be valued and heard and loved and know that they're respected for who they are. So for me, that's a huge value. And that looks different than maybe I thought it did a while ago. I think for me, and being a parent and grow, I mean, they're teenagers now. So it's like they're becoming adults. And so I need to stay connected in a different way than you do with an 8-year-old or a 4-year-old. And so when they're 16, like they don't really want to have much to do with their mom. They just want me to pay for things. So finding the ways to stay connected with them. And I wrote that down, like, how do I want to live? Where do I want to live? And this comes into business too, because understanding yourself and what's valuable to you is success. That's success. It's not a mansion or $1 million, that random 7-figure, 6-figure BS nonsense. It's not the laptop lifestyle or living on the beach. I mean, it is who you are, and that's success. And so that's been a big thing for me. And that's what I teach so in the Social Guild, I have members who are social media managers, and we spend more time talking about that than what time do I post on Facebook and how do I get a video on Instagram? It's much more about, do you really need 6 figures or 7 figures, or do you need to figure out what's important for you and do that? So for me, it's important I don't want to have an office, right? Many times over my career, like I've been doing this now for 10 years. Many times I've thought, I want to have an office, right? Because that's a real business.
That's right. I remember you and I years ago were chatting about that, and you were thinking about it.
I mean, it comes and goes, especially when I feel kind of like socially isolated. I'm like, I want to work with cool people. And so, but an office is not in line with my values. It's not. It really isn't. I don't want to have to go into an office. I don't want to have employees who have to go into an office. Like, I want them to be free. So every morning I get to have breakfast with my kids, and we all sit around and we talk about what's going on. And for me, that's valuable. So I might have gotten a little bit off track there, but it's, it's that, and showing my kids that maybe like what I value, and explaining it to them, and finding out what they value, so that we can all grow together, but connected, but still independently.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. And I think that, like, for me, what comes to mind is that's pure resilience. It is, and it's guiding them to be self-responsible and self-aware, but connected at the same time, so.
Right. And understanding like what success means for them. Success, society is always trying to tell us that success in school is grades, good grades, or perfect attendance, or, the star in the school play, or the trophy for the team. And those are all the kid versions of success measures entrepreneurs, we have the different ones,
Yeah.
And so it's like helping them understand that it's not necessarily about winning the trophy. It's more about weren't even on the team last year, and this year you
Yes.
actually know how to play and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's helping them build their own inner value and their own inner sense of who they are.
Definitely, definitely. And it is, and it's just, and this cross-pollinates over every single area. I've got a green dot. Can you see that?
On your forehead, yeah.
On my forehead.
There you go. Just stay right there, and it'll be right in your third eye.
I just need to there you go. Something that we went on our first high school tour last night, and one of the things that they said in one of the slides was we're prepared. No, the first slide was what employees are looking for. They're looking for this. They're critical thinking. They're looking for this.
Right.
And the next slide, they said, we're preparing them to be 21st century ready.
Oh.
And there was that part of me that kind of went, bullshit,
Yeah, right.
And I don't even know why I'm sharing this, but I'll just trust that we're supposed to go there. But it's being able, no matter what age you are, being able to navigate through what success is to you and what the everyday looks like for you, and yes, you can dream, but what are you actually doing in this moment?
Right.
That dream to be alive in you right now.
Right.
And, and that cross-pollinates into a lot of areas and a lot of skills, and the preparation then in that, you go, for me last night, I'm just trying to process what I'm actually trying to say, and I don't even really know, in all honesty. I was looking at it going, do I want to prepare my kids? Is that the purpose of high school, to prepare them to be a good employee?
Right.
To me, I thought that is such a small portion of life.
Right.
And happiness. And so, it was an interesting moment for me where I was just able to then stop in that moment and go, hang on a minute, what is happening within my body right now? How is my body responding to that? Because we are more than one thing, and yesterday we spoke about how your journey in business, and as I spoke about brief earlier when we started this conversation, is you've worked with incredible people. So you've done the social media strategy for Obama, for Tony Robbins, for Frank Kern, amazing people. You have been invited to speak on huge stages, huge audiences, for massive amounts of money, and you've turned some down because they weren't aligned with who you are and how you operate in your business, and who you are, how you want to show up in the world. So tell me about that conversation that you had with yourself.
Well, this comes back to a conversation that you and I had a couple years ago, and where we were talking about who I am and what I value, which is what we talk about, and we came to this conclusion that I have this sonic boom idea, where I have this ability to create a massive impact for someone. And so that's what I teach other people how to do and all that sort of stuff. But like, if I'm going to go into Tony Robbins' business and be able to amplify what it is that he does using Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and whatever, like it is like a sonic boom or like a nuclear explosion. It's just because I know how to get into the core of who they are and what they want to do to amplify it to a huge amount. Right.
Yes.
So understanding the power of that makes me really careful about who I help with my little superpower.
Yeah.
I'm not the only person in the world who has that superpower. There's a lot of people who know how to do this stuff now, and it's really good. I'm not saying that, but my point is all of us, all the people who are watching this and all the people who have an ability to step into someone's business or to step into someone's organization or their school or whatever, and dramatically impact their exposure, their results. Reporters have this ability, TV stations, all that sort of stuff. You're amplifying a message, you're amplifying something. And you get to choose who you amplify and who you don't. And now I've learned that there's just some things I don't want to amplify. And it doesn't matter how much money it is, because, recently, I was approached by an organization, and they have a lot of money, a lot of money, and they need a social strategy, and they need somebody to help get their message out. But their core message is the direct opposite of what I believe is good for humanity. And, it was a battle for me because single mom, I got to pay the bills, I got to pay the mortgage, got to do all these things. But I couldn't do it. I was like, if they're successful and, all that sort of stuff, it's so against it is really against what I believe in. Although I could do it, I can't do it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And so then how then do you go there, very real human needs that you're a single mom, like you need to make money, like we all need to make money. And they're real things that we actually need to food on the table, to pay our bills, to do all of these things. How then do you make such a big decision to go, no, like it's that level of trust. And I think that's what I want to talk about. What I want to ask you about is there must be another trust that if I say no to this, something else will come along. Or tell me about how that is working for you.
Yeah, well, it's sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not so great. Like there's sometimes where you say no to something and then you're like, ugh, what do I do? And then I have to really go in and count my pennies and really figure out how we're gonna stretch the budget or whatever to get everything done. But I know that in my heart and in my soul, I don't feel I have done it. And I have aligned myself with people and businesses and political organizations that I am not aligned with. And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. And every time I have to do something, I notice that I feel something is off. And either it's the way we communicate, or it's not always anything too airy-fairy. Sometimes it's just, you notice that the way they talk to you seems a bit harsh, or they're demanding things that weren't what you agreed. And, it's like those kind of signs along the way. Where it starts to wear away at you. And when you think about that client, you're just like, oh. And that feeling, if I feel about you or your business, that's not a good fit.
Absolutely.
And so I know that's not good, that I'm not doing my best work. My best work comes when I can't freaking wait to log in and go, oh, we got a new thing and we got a new blog post. I can't wait to amplify it. And I can't wait to see who responds, or those things are what light me up. And that I like connecting with clients like that. So what I do, you asked how do I find it or whatever. I just kind of tread really carefully. I ask a lot of questions. I listen to how people talk and the kinds of words that they use and the kinds of the kinds of people that they align themselves with, or I find out what they've been doing for social media in the past. And that always gives me a lot of indications of where their mind is and what they're looking for. Usually for me personally, if they're just super profit driven and we just need the ROI and we need this and I'm kind of over that now.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, we need to make money and we need to make this profitable.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's, this is not, for me, it's not good to make money at all costs.
Yes. Yeah.
That get rich quick, stuff is just not, I'm not a good fit for that. So I listen and ask a lot of questions, and that's how I find the right people. Also, I've learned, especially here in America, that by speaking openly on my Facebook page, the right kind of people, right for me, are attracted and drawn, and the not right people are repelled. And especially, like, you and I spoke about yesterday, America's really divided politically, and it's a really difficult time for people. And for a long time, I was silent because I was afraid that I was pushing business away, which I was. Because I was so open politically about my views. And so I was repelling, like, more than, half the population were not in agreement with me. And so we're not going to do business with me. And that had a financial impact. It had a big impact on my bottom line. But what I found was, once I resumed speaking freely, the people who I'm aligned with were energized. And so, like, all of a sudden, this little tiny spark turned into a flame, turned into a, and now it's kind of like a roaring fire, and we're all huddled around it, and it feels so
beautiful.
It's, Did that answer your question?
Absolutely. And I love what you just said there, is that you being open around, on Facebook, it's not just, telling people what you think that they want to hear, or being on the fence. And I love that then the ripple effect, and again, your sonic boom superpower of just, and every time you say that and I say that, I just go, I get a big hat on. And but you then sharing, pick a side of the fence, like jump on board, share your truth, speak your truth, and trust then that the right people will come, and I love that, because, I think that then we safeguard these social media streams and thinking that we're doing the right thing. But it can actually work in our favor. So I love what you're saying.
And it went against, like, a lot of business coaches. My business coaches at the time were saying, shut it down. Like, no. And I get it. And it's difficult, but for me personally, it was very helpful to speak up. And this is something that I teach for businesses and for individuals in social media too, to find, I like to look for 5 key things that you stand for that really embody you. I call them like your pillars, that like hold up the Parthenon. And so finding out what those things are, and they change over time, and they're silly things. They have nothing to do with what you do for business. So for me, like, mine are like bacon. I talk about bacon all the time.
A lot.
Or I like bourbon. I know.
Did you see the bacon chutney?
Oh, yes. I love it.
I thought of you when I seen it.
See, it works. So bacon and bourbon and homeschooling and, being a single mom and, that sort of stuff. And thinking of those things that have nothing to do with business. And for me, I like that, because what it does is it gives me, like an octopus, it's like little tentacles out into the social media universe that different people can latch onto. Like the people who love bacon can latch onto that, and they're like, yeah, Jen's that social media girl who loves bacon. Or, oh, you're homeschooling too. Wow, I want questions about homeschooling. Or, you love bourbon. Here's this bourbon thing. And And all of those things come together to make you a well-rounded whole 3D person.
Yes.
And for businesses and individuals and everybody could do that. And it's, if politics is one of your things, or religion is one of your things, or, you know, my sister is in sign language. And so sign language is one of her things. And it becomes something to talk about. Anyway, that's, yeah. But
I love that.
It's really helpful for me to
Yeah.
learn. And so then you get to talk about things that you care about and that you're passionate about. And it's not just buy my stuff, join my course, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, and that's why, you know, I wanted to chat to you today about the hedonistic way and be a part of this, because that is something that there's a gazillion things that I love about you, but that is something that I love about you, is that your approach, you know, your business coach said, get it down, but you have such a different approach to how you approach your business. And, you know, the cycles then, you know, that we have within that, and you are able to use your discernment and go, you know what, no, this works for me and this feels good, which is so amazing. And those tentacles that you were just talking about, and like becoming a 3D, you know, person, and you know, you said it so beautifully, as you always do. Then there's so much around at the minute with these Facebook changes and conversations, and give me an emoji, comment to this post because I'm only going to see a certain amount of da-da-da-da-da, all that. It's such a lack. I don't know. For me, I read it and I just go, oh, it doesn't feel right. Like it just, I don't know. It just.
They're tricks. They're just tricks. And the algorithm is tricky right now, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's happened so many times over the last 10 years. There's the algorithm is always changing.
Yes.
And Facebook is trying to stay relevant, which they have to do. Otherwise, they would be MySpace.
Yes.
And nobody would be there. So they're staying at the top for a very, very long time because they keep doing this to us.
Yes.
So that it works. It just sucks for people who are trying to do business.
Yeah.
So you've got to stay on top of it, and you've got to be interesting, and you have to engage with people, and you have to be a real person. And sometimes you step away and then come back again, but you've got to be there and show up on a regular basis and talk to people about things that they care about, because otherwise you end up doing tricks or paying for everything.
Yes.
So
and that's
other thing to keep in mind too. Sorry to
no, you're right. Go.
That sometimes the social cues of likes and engagement and shares and comments and stuff, sometimes those are not a good measure of what's working and what's not. They're easy to measure, but it's what people are still reach out to you. If you touch a nerve, or if you strike a chord with people and you get to a point where you're asking for the business, or you're asking them to take a step with you, or you're raising interesting questions about whatever it is you do, people will take action. They will. And, but it's not always likes and comments and shares. So I just want people to know that, like, just because they're not liking your post doesn't mean you should stop.
Yes.
And having fewer posts, but more interesting ones, are much better than having a post every day that sucks.
Yes.
So if you have like one super cool post every week that really gets people going, then that's good. So, yeah.
I always love your approach around social. And I think that's when you're saying before about the 5 things and the tentacles and be interesting. And that is one thing then that anybody can use, is to stay relevant, to stay interesting. Because should we ever, like, yes, you have to be on top of everything that's going on, but do we need to be on top of every single Facebook algorithm? You know, like, because I don't know, like, I see it there and I just go, I don't really care. Right. Is that me being a bad business owner?
You're the worst. No. I think it's important for us to stay focused on the whole purpose of what it is that you're doing here, right? And the
Yeah.
focus is to be true to yourself, to be
Yeah.
true to who you are. And the more you stand in who you are, and the more you talk about that and make it interesting, right? So you
Mm.
have different aspects. And for some people, maybe you love to bake. What is it that your friends know about you? You
Yeah.
know, you're a knitter, or you're a sewer, or you love to bird watch, or you
Mm.
go camping with your friends and family all the time, or everybody has interesting things about them,
Mm.
right? Most
Mm.
people do. What is
Yeah.
it that you love? I mean, so if you love, watching The Bachelor, great, make that one of your pillars, and you
Yeah.
talk shit about The Bachelor,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is for you. And so I think those will change over time as whatever it is that lights you up. If you start talking a little bit about that and mix that in with whatever you do for business,
Mm.
um, people will be drawn to that. And then ignore the algorithms,
Yeah.
ignore all the social media coming and going of what works, what doesn't, blah, blah, blah. Just keep
Mm.
producing good, interesting content,
Yeah.
liking when people comment, like it, reply back to them. And
Yeah.
you've always done all of those things. Like you're always yourself, and you're true, and you respond to people. Like
Yeah.
every time anybody comments on you, you're like, oh, sweetheart, I'd love to see you, and you're like talking back to us. And
Yeah.
that's it. That's what people need to do. And then
Yeah.
just forget about all the numbers and just keep going on your path, and
Mm.
people start to follow.
Mm. Thank you. It's I've so many people and a lot of people listening to this rely on, and on Facebook, on, Instagram is
Mhm.
kind of getting up there as well, but a lot of people are relying on this space, and it can be very time consuming, all consuming. Like, there's some days where I feel like I friggin' live on Facebook. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, get me off it.
It sucks you away. It's like
Yes.
a brain suck. Yeah. There's a couple of things you can do for that. Um, like an old school kitchen timer.
Mm.
Do you know, like where you turn it and it like
Yeah.
goes tick, 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 like that?
Yeah.
Really super old school kitchen timer, not a
Yeah.
digital one on your phone. If you
Yes.
have that next to your computer and you set it for 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and you go on your Facebook page, your business page, and you write something and you put a really cool image, and then you get that posted, and then you have whatever time is left
Yeah.
to like and comment and share and go to other businesses
Mm.
and do something. And then when that timer goes, you get up and
Yes.
step away. And
Yeah.
so you could do that 3 times a day, and that's only 30 minutes a day. And
Yeah.
it's like little things like that, little tricks like that. I mean, you'll
Mm.
still look on your phone and all that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
but at least you'll get your business stuff posted. And
Yes.
I'm telling you now, I use that timer all the time. I
Yeah.
use it for, when I'm going to start work on a client, I set my timer for the set amount of time. And when that ticking is like a brain game. And I'm like, oh
Yes.
my God, no, shh, don't talk to me. I got to do this. And then, I know that I get it done, and that there's just it's like a game show, like I got to get it done. So that
Yeah.
helps. The other thing is using an app like Rescue Time.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's good. You just install it on your computer, and
Mhm.
it kind of runs in the background.
Okay.
And over time, it will show you how much time you're spending on different things. And
Mhm.
you can use it to shut off Facebook
Yeah.
after a certain time. Or if Facebook has been open for a certain amount of time, it'll flash up on the screen and say, do you realize you've been here for 6 hours?
Yeah.
Or whatever. So that's helpful.
Yeah. Awesome. Um, I want to ask you about we've spoken about, your values in your business, who you are as a person, showing up. Um, you don't, like, you're on Facebook, but you're not all over the place. You're not, you know, um, you're not everywhere all at once,
No.
but you attract clients.
Yep.
You're brilliant at what you do. You have a very unique outlook and thought process about how you not only approach business, but how you give and serve others. How do you attract these clients without it's that, you know, you're magnetic and people trust you, people come to you, and you still get clients even when you're not all over the place all at once. Like, how do you navigate through that? How do you do that?
Well, it's important to not, I think it's important to not be everywhere all at once. I think we should all choose what's most important to us, and understand who you are, understand who you want to work with, and understand what kind of value you can bring to them. Right? So if you understand those three things, you don't need to be everywhere. You need to be where they are.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So where are your ideal customers, and where do they log in every day? And for some people, it's going to be Twitter or LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But you got to figure out where they're at, and then be able to very clearly explain how you can serve them. And if you understand who they are and how you can serve them, then you can say one post and people are like, damn, I have that problem. I need you. And that's it. It's one post. They don't need to see 1,000 posts over 6 months.
Yes.
If it's a powerful, heartfelt message, it can come through like that. And that could be done with just one Facebook ad, even. You know exactly where they are. The other thing that works really well is video, and being able to talk like this, where people can see you and they get a feeling, you really understand how people are working. And you can see if it's super staged and, edited, and every 5 seconds I've got a cut through my, and you can see, you get a feeling of, this is a super professional, slick, swish video. They want my money.
Yes.
Or, wow, this person really gets it, and I feel like she wants to help me. And those are the people I want. I want to work with people who get it and who want to help others and who want to feel that connection. That's what I want. And so for me, video works really well like that. And that's a thing a lot of people are afraid of. A lot of people are afraid to get on video. And I'm so glad to see you getting people out of that. You're on camera all the time, and getting other people on camera all the time is really good, because this is what we want. Like, we want real people.
Yes.
Super polished, made up Barbie dolls,
That's right. And I scroll past, all of the made up done videos. Like, I'm just scrolling past when I'm getting these, even just like for the summit, these video edits are the trimming of, like, me getting up, turning the camera off. Like, that's it. That's the edit. It's just because I think we want transparency, and we don't want something that's been manufactured, altered, manipulated to the absolute, 100th degree, because we want to see past that, and that's what I love about, everything that you do, is because you don't, and you never have. You never have. And that's something that I deeply admire, is because so many people in your industry have and do, and you've always stayed firm.
Right.
In that
but
part.
Because then if I do that, then everybody else in the social guild thinks they have to do that.
Yeah.
So if I can sit in my baseball hat in my backyard with the sun glaring or whatever, and be like, hey, listen, you guys, I just saw this thing I wanted to tell you.
Yeah.
It becomes more of a thing that you could do that, as opposed to it being something that only those people can do.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Absolutely. And that's, and that's what is so important about what you're doing now, Jen, is that where, before, and, you've probably still, so you're serving, all these campaigns and strategies for these massive names, but you're being that, you know, coming from this beautiful congruent space, but now you're teaching other social media managers, you're teaching them how to do business from such an authentic, beautiful, self-honoring way, and serving people from that space. So then so the ripple effect now of everything that we see on social that your tentacles are touching through everyone in the social guild is, you know, for humanity, for hedonism, for everything, just for self-pleasure even, you know, for that. It's so important what you're doing, because social media is such a massive part of our lives now. And doing it from that space and teaching others to then serve their clients from that space is really important, because slowly, the more we do this, the ripple effect of that will be, you know, more transparency.
Right. And then I'm teaching people how to kind of cut through all the nonsense and cut through all the BS of the random fluffy metrics of, you know, sure, I can get you 20,000 Instagram fans. Like, who cares? Like, really, what you want is $20,000 in the bank. Like, you know, it is a big difference. And so, and helping our members, like, see that you could get 2 or 3 clients paying you a couple $1,000s a month each, and have a very, very successful business with 3 clients. Like, most people are like, oh, wait, I thought they had to have a big agency and do all this stuff. And I'm like, no, like, you can do this at whatever level you want to do it. And so helping each person, I love that. And and it's exciting to see them, you know, raise their rates and charge a little bit more and cut out the nonsense and really deliver value. And I'm all excited thinking about it.
Oh, so I love that.
That's why I do what I do.
You like, you light up about it, you know.
I know. I know I do.
I love it. Even like back in, I don't even know what year it was. I want to say like 2011, when you spoke at my event that time. And you're like, I'm the only person who, like, you get so excited about Facebook ads. Like, you're like,
That's right. I do. It's funny. And I'm like, come on. We got some more leads coming in this, you know, oh my God.
I love it. It is really so beautiful. But something that you said there is, and I don't know whether it's just me and like a lot of, you know, a lot of coaches, a lot of mentors, a lot of all these people, like, they're in every single Facebook group.
Yeah.
So something that you said, and I know a lot of people watching will be in, I never see you in any Facebook groups. And I love what you said there. It doesn't have to be a gazillion amount of posts in a gazillion amount of groups. You need to be doing that for 6 months. You can write one post.
You can, if you know exactly who you're talking to and you're in front of them.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's the thing. And so you can do that on your own personal Facebook page, and by asking key questions or by talking about something that's really bothering your clients, like your ideal client. What is really upsetting them? What's really bothering them? What keeps them up at night? What problem do you solve? And if you can be really clear that you can solve that problem, then start talking about it.
Yeah.
Make a video or talk about it on a post or show us in a screenshot, or, you know, start talking about it regularly. And people will, when, you know, because like, we all have a network, we all have a community of people. So if a friend of mine comes to me and says, you know, wow, I need to get my chairs reupholstered. Like, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. You know, Mary was just talking that she had a great girl who did that for her, you know, and then you connect them. Yes. And so if people don't know what you do and they don't know what problems you solve, they can never connect you with anybody. But it's also based on real relationships.
Yes.
Real connections, not just you being like a insurance salesman trying to sign everybody up all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in it then is just then when you were talking, I had something just land for me, is a lot of Facebook now and the Facebook groups and, is yes, okay, it's not about selling and you need to be real and you need to make real connections. But I think in that we're reacting.
Mm-hmm.
We're reacting to almost frivolous kind of, everyone's just in there making up crap because they really actually just want business, but it's masked as this conversation that they're actually wanting to have. And not just Facebook groups, like on Facebook, everywhere. In real life. But so something that you said just then is to like keep it simple. Like, what are their questions? And talk about that. Create that conversation. Start that conversation. Yes, connect and share and, converse with people, but stop reacting to conversation as much and start generating that conversation.
Absolutely. And if you are one of those people who are in all these Facebook groups and where people are asking questions and then all the experts chime in, like you could do this and showing off like how great they are.
Yeah.
Instead, maybe what you could do is make a video on your own personal Facebook page or your personal profile. It says, hey, do you own a hair salon and you just don't know how to get new clients? Well, here's a couple of ideas I have for you. You could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this. And you just make it your own video that answers the questions, as opposed to going in and chiming in where 35 other people have already commented. I'm not saying that then you go and send it to those people, but there's other people with those same questions.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
And so you start to become the expert and you're showing value and you're showing that I also think it's detrimental if people are spending too much time in Facebook groups. Like, you're not working.
No.
You're not making money. You're not, what do you got all this time to this Facebook group? So they obviously aren't using their timer.
Yes.
So like my time is too valuable. Like for me, if I'm going to be I'm going to work on a client account, I want to be creating things for the social guild. I want to be sitting with my kids, or I want to be out with my man. Like, these are the things I'm doing. And so I don't want to be sitting in a Facebook group like, like chatting away just for the sake of being known for something. Like, it's much better to get one good client and kick ass for them, and then show other people how that you've actually done it, demonstrate it. And then other businesses will be like, wow, I really want to talk to you about my Instagram account. Great. Let's
do it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking about Instagram.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I don't know. I don't even know what I want to know more, but I'm just thinking, I don't even know what my question is. Is Instagram is much, what, a lot of people are saying Instagram are going to move in the same direction as Facebook. Instagram is where it's at. Right. I don't know, like, in your professional opinion, what are you thinking?
I think that Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, they're all completely different. I really believe that you've got to figure out what works for you. What do you enjoy and what do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Then where are your customers? Start talking to them. Where are they and what do they like and what don't they like? I think for anybody who's working in the social media industry, I absolutely think it's imperative for you to at least play around with each platform separately for yourself as a user, so you get it and you understand. When you have your own Instagram account that's just for you and you browse through it with your friends and your pillars or your tentacles or whatever it is that you're interested in, you start to see good and bad things that people do. So if you're interested in quilting and you follow a bunch of quilting people and pages and stuff, businesses, you'll go, oh God, that's so annoying. They always do that thing and I don't like that. Or, wow, I love following this girl. She's so interesting. And take note of what it is that you like. So whatever your interests are, go to each platform and look for those things. That's the best way to learn. And for me personally, I have completely different profiles on every single platform, and I don't spend a lot of time on them, but I am on them, and I have kind of a different persona on each one. I know you follow me on Twitter, which is a little bit it's a little bit risque over there. But it's fun, and it's like, okay, so I have this little, sexy chick outlet over here on Twitter, and then I have my own personal thing happening on Instagram.
Yeah.
And Facebook is much more about family, politics, and business for me. But you gotta figure it out what works for you.
Yeah, and I love that then you have different personas for for each one, and you like the level of your creativity. It just blows me away, and because that's your approach, right? Is because you just play constantly, you just like you love it, and but I think
it teaches me what works. Right.
Yes.
It teaches me what works. And what I can't do what I do on Facebook, on Twitter. There's just no way. Like, I watch what people do, and I watch what people interact with and how it works. And, I have business profiles too. And I know how to do the business side of things, but I think the mistake that a lot of people make is they have a post and they send it to Facebook and Instagram and Twitter all at the same time. And that's like the biggest mistake ever, in my opinion. That's just a terrible mistake, because if I follow you on all of those platforms, I get notifications that, Mary just posted on all of these platforms. I'm only going to go see one.
Yes.
I'm only going to go to one. And then all the others, you're like, oh, that doesn't work, or, whatever. So I think it's better to scatter them, or shares a post on Twitter 3-4 days after you did it on Facebook, or the same thing with Instagram. I try to choose more artsy, creative, colorful, dramatic kind of things for Instagram than I would on Facebook.
Yeah.
And it's much more of a picture is worth 1,000 words on Instagram. And hashtags are everything on Instagram, by the way, and they're not anything anywhere else, really. I mean, hashtags do trend on Twitter a little bit, but if you don't have hashtags on Instagram, you are going to miss out on so much traffic.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Like 30 hashtags, but don't put them right in your post. Put them in a comment.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. And my partner told me off for it. He's like, what are you putting them in the comments for? I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know why? I mean, it's more of an aesthetic thing. Because when you post on Instagram and you post it with 50,000 things, everybody sees that, like when they look at your picture, and it just looks, to me, it just looks
spammy.
Promotional and spammy or whatever. When you put them in the comments with a couple of dashes, they're hidden and they still do the same work. But you don't see them, and it's more like, oh, Renee wanted to share that with us. As opposed to, oh, Renee's trying to sell me something.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And it does. It's because you look at them and it's, no, I agree. I'm right. He was wrong.
As always. Sorry. He's not here to defend himself. So.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything else I want to ask you? Twitter, you're still on Twitter. I kind of pop in every now and again.
Yeah.
Do you still, are you making money from Twitter? Are you just, so I don't know.
I don't get clients from Twitter. Twitter for me personally, on my personal account, is fun and silly and sexy. That's it.
Yeah.
I have made a lot of friends on Twitter. There's groups where people are all chatting in direct messages, like group chats and stuff on Twitter. There's a whole subculture on Twitter that people don't really know about unless you're there.
Right.
But all of my clients are on Twitter, yes. And they do get lots and lots of traffic. For business, Twitter is really good. But you have to understand that it's much more like a news ticker feed at the bottom of your TV screen. Yes. It's much more like that, where people will might click through and they'll read something or whatever, but it's not it's not the same. You have to have a different approach.
Yeah, absolutely. When you were saying before about like drip feeding, like across the multiple different social
Yeah.
platforms and everything else, would you just go schedule it? Are you real time? Like what?
Usually, yeah, it's different for me than it is for clients and stuff. So for clients,
Yes.
things are scheduled. So they
Yeah.
have, they'll write a blog post, and then
Mm.
blog post will be published, and
Mm.
it'll be shared with commentary and a couple of different images to Facebook.
Yeah.
And then it's shared like the next day on Instagram with a different image,
Yeah.
usually a different headline,
Yeah.
because we're trying to get different people if people follow us on Facebook and Instagram, they might not have read it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's published to Twitter a couple of different ways with a couple of different headlines, a couple of different images. So
Yeah.
we take the same blog post
Yeah.
and make it evergreen. So
Yes.
you can post that as long as it's not dated or about, St. Patrick's Day or something.
Yes. Yeah.
We can amplify that and just send it out every 3 months or so and do the same cycle again and again and again, and
Yeah.
just add in a unique link so that when people click through, we know where it's coming from. But it's the best. Most people have too much content and don't need to keep creating more content.
Yeah.
They just amplify it. So they do what most people do is they have a blog post, they send it to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter once on the same day, and then they write another blog post.
Yes.
And it's a huge waste.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what we do for clients is like get it scheduled in and amplified in like a cycle. It's like a circuit we have that kind of cross promotes from different places.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And that's, and it just goes to show you that there's so much more time effective ways that we can be, getting out there and connecting and sharing our content in fun, playful, relevant ways that isn't just, and that way you're cutting through the white noise then as well, aren't you? Because you're relative on the social media platform, you're doing something different to everybody else, but you're also honoring your content as well and giving it a longer lifespan. So
right. And every blog post usually has a couple of different angles. You could have chosen a different headline, or you're solving different problems, or you're talking about top tips or whatever. So you could come up with a lot of different headlines and probably 3 or 4 different images and a couple of different calls to action for every single one, and then you've got a year's worth of content. It's good. And so if you write one kick-ass article that really helps people, don't just let it sit there going to waste. Really get out there and drag that out and reuse it again and again to generate leads.
Absolutely. And that's it. And again, it goes back to those tentacles, is that like, not a lot of people, I think, will be going direct to websites.
Right.
So I think there's kind of, yes, there might be Google searches and stuff like that, but a lot of, I think, what people are doing, they might, or they're on their social media feed, as we were saying before, I've got this problem. Oh, there's the answer to it. It's more, it's that rather than a direct, okay, right. If it's a tangible product, yes, I need a couch. People will Google it. But if it's for, probably, let's say, intangible problem, it's something that you're more likely to just stumble across, right time, right place.
Yeah, exactly. Which is great for evergreen content like that.
Yeah.
And so it makes you also appear like so much more of a thought leader if you have a blog post that's written about it.
Yes.
And so if you are going to be posting in a Facebook group, you're like, yeah, here's a blog post I wrote about this, or here's a podcast that I recorded, or here's a video interview, or here's, and you're sending people a link to your solution, which is really cool. I think that helps. It's less like I'm just blabbing on Facebook and I'm actually I'm a publisher.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Is there anything else? I'm just thinking, do I have any other questions inside of me?
There is one thing I wanted to say.
I knew it. Yes.
There's for people watching to kind of maybe cut down all the social media noise and feeling like they have to do so much. That seems to be what we've been talking about a lot, where I'm not everywhere, or, I'm not posting on all the platforms every 5 days or every day, 5 times a day or something.
Yeah.
It's just really getting clear on who you are, getting clear on who you want to help and who they are. Like those two things. Almost everybody who I start to work with, they don't know. They kind of have vague, I want to work with women who have kids in preschool or something. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
There's, if you just take that group, women with kids who are in grade 1 even, that's not a group. Like, how many different women do you know with kids in grade 1? I mean, they wear different things. They eat different things. They take different vacations. So you've got to get really, really clear. Who can you help? Who are you? Who can you help? And where are they? And figure that out. And then start to get just laser focused on delivering that message, but also being authentic with your tentacles. Making sure that you're doing that kind of outreach about fun things on social media, not just buy my stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that way you're kind of bringing the two closer together. You are clear, you know exactly who you're talking to, and then you can talk about something that matters.
Absolutely. And you know what, like what comes to mind then is the ripple effect of that, like I go, is absolutely huge, because all of a sudden you're so much clearer in what you're offering. You can serve your clients better because you can actually get to the core problem faster. You're saving time. You're more efficient. You're more connected. Like there's so many benefits to, you're building your authority because you're not just contributing to this noise and reacting to, you've got this reactive cross your finger marketing. You're actually becoming and taking the action steps to become a thought leader, but doing it in a fun, aligned, authentic way.
Yes. And you can make a list of the problems that your ideal client have. Like once you really know who they are, make a list of the questions they have that you know the answers to.
Yes.
What questions do people ask you all the time, and what issues do they have? And usually they're very basic for us. Like for me, if we're talking about social media questions, they're usually very, very straightforward.
Yes.
But they're not super advanced, but they're problems. For real people have these problems. So you start to create little bits of content that answer those questions. Spend your time there doing that, solving problems for people, and then sharing that. That's much more valuable than stalking Facebook groups, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I agree. And it works. Like it works for you, so when your business is, high flying and it's huge and it's doing these amazing things, that strategy has worked for you. When you've been more low key, under the ground, head down, bum up, doing the work, that strategy has worked for you no matter where you are in that business cycle, hasn't it? Like that strategy.
It's because I'm clear on who I am at any given time. And so I feel like my life is, because it's ebbs and flows, right? And my life is kind of like, I imagine like a pie chart. And sometimes the business section of my pie chart is like enormous, and I'm all about the business. And other times it's really small. And that's okay, because I know what success means for me. And success is not just business success or bank account success. Like for me, it's like I have peace of mind. I have time with my children. I have time with my loved ones, that I wake up feeling happy to be alive. And so sometimes business is great and huge, and I'm on big stages, like you said. And then other times I'm really quiet. And lately I've been really quiet. But I'm great, and I'm happy, and I'm making money, and I'm helping people. And then there might come a time where I get really big again, and I don't know, I'll be on TV or some shit. And that's fine. It's okay. As long as I keep aligned with who I am, I feel good about whatever comes my way. So, and I think other
Absolutely.
people can do that too.
Absolutely. You are absolute breath of fresh air. Did you want to say something? What were
Yeah,
you
I was
saying?
going to
Yeah.
say, like, I think the problem that happens with that is when you go through one of those small phases, like where you're quieter and you're maybe not in the public eye, or the money isn't happening as much as it was once before,
Mm,
we start to doubt ourselves or think that we're failing
mm,
because we have this external view of success,
mm.
right? And so I think that you think that if you don't have 20,000 Instagram fans for yourself, then how could you possibly help somebody else get 20? Or, you start to think
Yeah.
negative self-defeating thoughts.
Mm.
And no matter who it is who's watching this, you're serving people, you can solve problems for people. Just make sure that you stay focused on what's really important and not external
Yeah.
measures,
Yeah.
because that
Absolutely.
helps you get through the big times and the small times.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know that you're delivering value based on who you are.
Yeah. And that's it. And again, that's evergreen,
Right.
isn't it?
Right. I mean,
So yeah.
sometimes, it's a little bit harder to get the hang of it and
Yes.
go,
Yeah.
okay, this is all right. It's
Yeah.
good.
And that's it. And it might take a little bit extra work because it's hard because you've got all this happening,
Yeah.
but then there's tools then to quieten down this, as
Yes.
well. So,
Yes.
and there's definitely ways around it. Selfishly, when you are low key,
Yeah.
I really miss you.
Yeah. I miss you too.
Selfishly, but but I have the utmost respect for you because I honor and cherish that about you as well, So I think that is something that I love about our friendship and
Mhm.
other connections as well is to be able to go, you know what, like you honor where they're at and where
Right.
they're at and they're doing that, and your happiness always shines through, and you do live this incredible, beautiful, very real life no
Mhm.
matter where you're at that time. And
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for showing up and thank you for being you, and because I'm getting emotional, you are such an incredible woman. Like, you just, every time we connect, you just, I love it. And you're
It's
such a
very
beautiful
fulfilling. Yeah.
person.
Yeah. For
You
me
know.
too. For me too. Thank you for saying all those kind words. I feel exactly the same. Lots of love for you. I think that it's oh shoot, and I lost what I was going to say about it too, because it's just knowing that it's yeah, I don't know. I think knowing that it's all coming together, knowing that it's all going to be okay.
Mm.
Knowing that I'm staying true to who I am. And I think I've learned over the years that I am a very creative person. I didn't never thought I was, but I'm very creative, just in a different way.
Yeah, me too.
I thought about like art, like painting and drawing. I can't
Same.
paint or draw to save my life,
Same.
but I need time to regroup.
Yes.
And I have to find that inspiration from within.
Mm.
And so sometimes that means I have to be quiet, or sometimes it means I have to let go of clients, or sometimes it means I have a change of direction. And my business now is not what I thought it was going to be 10 years ago. Right.
Mm.
And it's gone through all this metamorphosis and changed names,
Gosh.
and changed directions, and changed clients. And so I think for anybody who's watching this who feels, overwhelmed, or you don't be too rigid and sticking
Mm.
to, like, I thought I was going to write a book or something,
Yes.
maybe your book journey was going to bring you to a podcast, which brought you to a YouTube channel. And,
Yeah.
you know, so just kind of go with the flow and ride that river and
Yeah, that's right.
hang on tight.
I agree, absolutely. Like, I was thinking this, was it out of this morning, yesterday, or whatever. I was like, it was at for you, it was the PPC mum.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Like,
how I started. Right.
you
So
know,
long ago. Right.
so
I was
long
running Google
ago.
AdWords traffic. Yeah, that was a big deal. And then we moved into Facebook. So it was all paid traffic. Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, it's just, incredible. But, throughout all of it,
Yeah.
that core value in you has has always been the same. And I think that, for me, that is success. For me, that is stereo untypical, and that is, and that for me is disrupting the status quo, because you're going, I can do this in a way that feels good for me by asking really small, clear questions like, who am I?
Yes.
How do I want to show up every day? And all of these beautiful questions that, you've mentioned throughout this time here now. It doesn't have to be hard, right? And to be fluid in the outcome and the vision, as it might look a little bit different to how you started off,
Right. Right.
God, I know it did for me. My God.
Right.
It's different, and it's being open.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I think that being okay with that process,
Yeah.
and yes, you do have to get really, really good at something. Like,
Mm.
right, you have to solve problems. The bigger
Yes.
problems you solve, the more money you make.
Yes. Yes.
So got to get really good at solving problems. So it's not just about, oh, I know who I am and I have my tentacles and I'm amazing and I love myself and all that. That's great. But if you don't solve big problems for people,
Yes.
then there's no money exchange,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we're talking about business and actually creating a business, you've got to have that other end of the equation. So it's not just knowing who you are, but you have to know who your customers are and the problems that you can solve. And that takes work and reading and effort and, listening to podcasts and trial and error and doing it and failing and doing it again and failing and doing it again,
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I love it. That's what I do.
Yes, and
That's what
so
we do.
well. Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. My goodness.
This is so fun.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Like, I'm just, I could just
What a great idea.
sit here all day. Oh, I've loved it. Like, loved it. It's been the most amazing month, really, of just like, I mean, that's not putting it together and everything, but like, it just having these beautiful exchanges and with these incredible people. But you know what? Everyone, just their approach to life is just so unique, and how they do business is so refreshing. And it's just unique and it's beautiful, and it's rocking my world. It's just
wonderful.
It's been awesome.
You have that quality where you just draw amazing, like, magnetic people towards you. So that's super cool.
Yeah, I feel really honored, and I feel really blessed to be able to do that. And the questions and the conversations have been just, like, the answer, like, they're not the stock standard. They're not the, like, I've been to summits and, with Richard Branson and Tony Robbins and, Donald Trump even.
Yep.
But, and, say Richard Branson, like, he doesn't do keynotes. He only gets interviewed. And the person asking him questions, I was like, oh, get me on that stage. You are asking shit questions.
We want to know what's on his bedside table.
Yes. I want to know what's turning him on. Just not the stock standard questions, like it was, I don't want to ask the questions that say, like, a journalist would ask Richard Branson.
Right.
I would want to get nitty gritty, like, around, have all these juicy conversations. And that was, the idea, and that's the conversation. That's why I called it Pillow Talk, right? Is because that's what I wanted to create, is to have that openness of these juicy conversations that we don't hear all the time. So thank you so much for being so open And I'll put all of your links and everything else on this page and below this video when it goes live, because everyone needs to follow you. Everyone needs to connect with you. Because
maybe not on Twitter.
Not on Twitter. Now you know that's where they're going to go.
Yeah, you're going to get all the saucy stuff if you go there.
That's
like, oh, who is she? Whoa, it's getting hot in here. I'm kidding. It's not that bad.
Have you seen the Bra Queen Instagram page at the moment? Like,
there you go. I love it. See, you give me inspiration. I just head over to Twitter and like type it out. That's great.
But yes, no, thank you so much for being a part of it. And just
thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a joy to spend time with you as always. I can't wait to see you in person and give you a big giant hug.
I know. I can't wait. Wait. The beginning of the year just wasn't the same without you in it, like.
I know. We had to spend the whole winter here, but it was okay.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool.
Thank you, dear.
So much, beautiful.
Have a great day. Bye.
You too.
See ya.
Oops.